Hello. This is another episode I recorded back in the summer of 2023, June 17 to be exact. A really fun conversation with Tim and Esin. Esin shares her journey from Turkey to Disney to the youngest film scoring department assistant chair of Berklee. Now it's called the screen scoring department at Berklee. We talk about her relationship with music, her incredible ability to turn her passion into her work. Please leave a comment below and let us know what inspirations you take from this episode, because we would love to hear from you. And enjoy.
遇见有趣的灵魂，活出真实的自己。大家好，欢迎来到谈心社，让我们一起谈心、谈情、谈音乐。Welcome to Generous Talk, an intercultural conversation on music, health, and lifestyle. Enjoy.
Hi everyone, this is Xingyu and we have Tim.
Hey everybody.
And our guest.
Hi.
Esin. I'm so glad to have you here. I'm really excited for this.
Thank you for having me.
Unite.
Yes.
My first impression of Esin was when we met at Berklee during the 24-hour musical theater festival. And it was a crazy time. We had to meet as a group with scriptwriter, composer, and actors, accompanists, director, meet at Friday night at 7 p.m. and given a prompt and select our style and start writing and rehearsing. And the next day at 7 p.m. we are ready to perform a 15 minutes long musical theater. And it was my first time really engaging that production process from zero to a full show, and I love it. And I was there every time since the first festival started, and that's how I met you. And my impression of you was a dream to be a composer for Disney and for Broadway. And I feel that's so much of that passion in you the first time I met you, and it just stuck with me. It's that strong. And then I see you grow and achieve your dreams to continue writing all those amazing pieces, musical theater, production, involving all kinds of big composition and competition. And then last year you went back to Berklee and be the youngest assistant chair of the film scoring department.
Yes.
And I feel like you keep writing history and, as a woman composer, moving this industry, and I know how challenging it can be. And I want to talk all of that. What is your music journey like? What is a passion like? I want to get into your brain, your life.
Okay.
Yeah. So we also have a tradition every time when we have a new guest is when they introduce themselves is, what is one song that you feel very passionate about to share with the audience? For me, I'm gonna ask you, what is that one Disney song you're gonna pick and why?
So hard. I have an answer.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, one song that I'm truly obsessed with is my favorite animated Disney film is Beauty and the Beast. I think it has something to do with like how much I love my dad. I mean, I love both of my parents, but I think I connected to Belle from Beauty and the Beast on a level of like, she's trying to protect her father and save him. And I don't know, like I don't really read a lot as Belle. I wish I did. I don't. But I think that's what I connect to her over. And the song Beauty and the Beast from you know, Beauty and the Beast. It's one of my absolute favorites. I'm totally obsessed with Ellen Menken and Howard Ashman. Just yesterday, I saw the new live action Little Mermaid and completely lost my mind.
Oh.
So yeah, but if I could pick one song from Disney repertoire, it's Beauty and the Beast. And then if I could pick any song, I started songwriting at the age of 13. And it's so funny, like I have been being trained as a classical pianist, but I wasn't writing. And then my best friend from elementary school, who started getting piano lessons after me, one day she wrote a song for an ex-boyfriend that broke her heart. And then my stupid teenager brain goes, oh my God, like if she can write a song, I can write a symphony because I've known piano for 2 more years than she did. So then just because she wrote a song, I was like, I'm gonna try writing songs. And I started writing songs when I was 13. And at that time, I was obsessed with a rock band called Evanescence.
Oh,
And
Evanescence.
oh my God, I'm like, can we just pause the podcast? So, and then I noticed that Amy Lee, who's the songwriter slash singer of Evanescence, also started writing music at the age of 13. So like everything came together and I started writing music. And I have always been involved with music, like doing it as an extracurricular activity in my elementary school, middle school. And I was also going to a state conservatory program, which was very serious. It was over the weekends, but it was very demanding. Like at the end of the year, I would have to perform 30 to 40 minutes of music completely memorized in front of a bunch of like piano jury. So it was always there, but I never loved it enough to turn it into a career. But when I started writing songs, it became my escape from everything else. Like if it was midterms week at my high school, I wouldn't care about the midterms and I would write all week. And because it became my escape from everything, I wanted it to become my career because my parents are both doctors and they work so hard. And like my dad is a spine surgeon. So, you know, anytime we had dinner, there would always be an emergency from the hospital.
Oh.
And I have always seen him prioritize work over and over again. And same with my mom, like her stuff wasn't as urgent. She's a dermatologist, so like the doctor for skin. But still, she also gets so many calls and always tries to help people. So I was like, okay, whatever job I end up doing, I have to love it so much that even if I receive calls 24/7, even if like all my dinners are ruined, I will still do it with grace and love and excitement. So when I experienced the kind of joy that I have for writing music, I was like, okay, this is my thing. This is the thing that I can continue to do in the same hardworking and loving way that my parents do their jobs. So then that's how I basically decided to become a composer. Thanks to that one stupid guy who broke my best friend's heart. Uh, and then my parents who showed me that like having a career means putting your all into it. And for that, you really need to align with the kind of impact that you're going to create. And like, however you're helping people, in our case, it's through music. In their case, it's through health. But like, I wanted to fully love it and never regret making that decision.
Wow.
Wow.
It's not wow, it's whatever.
Wow.
Wow.
Learn something new.
Yeah. And it's so weird, like my name in Turkish. So the names in US, it doesn't really mean anything, but in Turkish, all names mean something. And my first name is Esin, and it means inspiration. And all I do is getting inspired from the movies I watch and then try to inspire others through my music. And then my middle name, which does not exist in my artist name, it's Özlem. And it is what you feel when you miss someone. So the fact that I moved across the ocean, like I moved from Turkey to the US to realize this dream. And when I'm in US, I miss Turkey. When I'm in Turkey, I miss US. So like my entire life right now is based on missing someone at all times. And then also creating and inspiring others. So I'm like, oh wow, like I guess people really do live their lives. So yeah, that's I guess
like your
summary.
your name contains your destiny.
It pretty much did. Yeah.
Wow. That's a beautiful name.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
I like it too.
So cool.
Wow.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
that's how we could, do that 24-hour musical theater thing, just stay up and
so
just
fun.
love it and then do it. I also recently read something like the reason why, because in the general society, we usually are discouraged to get into the music industry, like pursue music as a career. And a lot of time, when a teenager, adults are discouraged, by saying like, "Oh, you're not talented enough,"
Yeah.
right? So don't go to that industry. But recently, I realized something new is, do you have the passion for it? Like the passion you just share, and for me, it's the same. Feeling like I love doing it. I just wake up, like if there's no music in the day, I'm like, probably gonna not gonna wake up, don't want to wake up, but
Yeah.
it's the reason I wake up every day.
Same.
And I feel that's what, if someone has that passion, I feel that's what's necessary to pursue this as a career. Maybe talent, I don't know, but that this like passion, love
Yeah.
in
I mean,
it.
honestly, I still don't know if I'm talented or not. I just know that I love it so much and I'm so passionate and I'm hardworking in it. Like, with
Uh-huh.
adult stuff like taxes, or I don't know, like doing mature adult work, I'm the laziest. But when it comes to music, I'm happy to stay awake for 24 hours. I'm happy to completely kill my social life and put
Oh.
mine into concerts and films and musicals and piano and like whatever it is that excites me in that moment. And I think that's what people call like your calling in life, like something
Mm-hmm.
that you truly, truly, truly enjoy. And it's such a competitive world. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what area you're in. If you don't give your all, I don't know how you can succeed because there's so much competition and everybody is talented and everybody has these resources and everybody has a chance to shine. I guess in order to really make it, like that's how we word it, you really really need to be passionate and you really need to give it your all,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what you do. You could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, you could be a researcher, you could be an engineer, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
How do you define success now for yourself?
Ooh. Ah,
Is I found as 13 years old, or I found Esin now, does that change?
I think success is accomplishing your goals. That's success. So everybody has different goals at different times in their lives, but if I feel like I'm moving towards the right direction towards my goals, I feel successful. Or if I get to be a part of a project, which is, I don't want to call it famous, but like more impactful. And obviously, like the more people watch it or see it or hear it, the more impact you have.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like as much as I truly, truly love my independent films, like not a big audience sees it. It's small
Mm-hmm.
audiences in different film festivals, or like maybe it's a private screening here and there, whatever it is. So I don't think the impact that it creates is the same as some of my bigger projects where I'm not the main composer, but I'm a additional composer, or I'm an arranger, like, or I'm a pianist, but like it reaches hundreds of thousands of people. That's when I feel a bit more successful, because then I'm like, okay, like my music is probably helping more people or saving more people or making more people think. Like whatever impact it has, it is bigger if it's reached by a wider audience. But then again, at the end of the day, like I want to make sure that even if one person listens to it, I want that one person to be inspired. So I guess if my audience feels inspired and they think my music supports the story in the right way, then I feel successful.
Uh-huh. What does someone being inspired looks like to you?
Someone being inspired, like by
Mhm. Yeah. What does that look like? Because
I guess what she means is like, in what way would you hope that people will be inspired? What would you hope that they take away
I
from you?
see. First of all,
yeah.
I love music so much that if I could inspire any child or adult to pursue music, like if somebody sees something that I do and they're like, oh my God, this is so cool, I want to do this for my life, like that is the biggest mind-blowing effect that I would want to have.
这会
But other than that, like you know, I do a lot of film and TV music, and for me, because I also view a lot of the films without music, as I'm the one who's scoring it, like when I receive it, oftentimes it doesn't have the,
Yes.
so the experience of watching a film without music is so weird, because when there's no music, it's so much silence. And I noticed that what make you cry or what make you laugh or what make you really react in a physical way, like smile or like, oh my God, like get so scared, like music kind of adds that effect. So
Yes.
if I can create that, whatever emotion it is that the film requires, I think that is success and that is kind of inspiration.
What does your life look like now? Like,
Oh my God, my life
like
right
in
now
a week?
kind of miserable.
Oh wow.
No, just because, so currently I'm basically trying to do two more than a full-time jobs. So one of
Ooh.
my jobs is I'm currently the assistant chair of the screen scoring department at Berklee College of Music. And it is definitely more than a full-time job. We have over 400 students who are studying film music and video game music. And I have this like managerial leadership role where I do a little bit of student advising. I do some faculty role where I teach some courses or some seminars. I bring visiting artists to the school. I take care of them when they come. I have so many meetings with tech companies and stuff that we connect with and collaborate with. And obviously, like being at a vibrant music college, there are always concerts, performances,
Wanna
workshops,
go.
sessions. So I do a lot to make sure that everything works. And I'm the person when something doesn't work, people come to me with complaints or people come to me asking for solutions. So it's a lot of meetings and a lot of emails. And pretty much like every day, I receive around 100 emails just in my Berklee inbox. And that's a lot because I do, you know, like 9 to 5 or 10 to 6, or sorry, like 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm basically at Berklee doing my assistant chair role. But then because I'm like so hungry and thirsty to write music, I go home and then I write music until 3, 4 a.m. So, but doing this for a whole year, I'm like so tired
Yeah.
because I haven't been sleeping. I don't
Two
really
job.
yeah, I basically have two jobs. Because my other job is not defined, I'm basically a freelance artist who writes music, arranges music. Sometimes I also write lyrics. Sometimes I record for other people's music piano. Sometimes I perform, sometimes I conduct. So like even just the scheduling of all of that, that takes a lot of emails and phone calls and texts and Zoom calls. And I have so many projects, but at the same time, I'm always trying to get more projects. So I have to demo on projects. I have to do my social media. I have to do, you know, interviews and press stuff like the one that we're doing right now. So it's like constant go, 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 go. And it is tiring. I love it so much, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find more balance to the point that I actually resigned from my Berklee job. And starting from August 1st, I'm going back to full on being a musician. So I'm not going to have my assistant chair role anymore. It's been so great to come back because I loved it so much as a student. You know, like that 24-hour musical theater festival. It was one of the most fun things I've ever done. We worked so much. We had so much fun. It's incredible, like creating with people that you have never met before and trying to put together a show of 20 minutes in just 24 hours. Like it's ridiculous. But those are the things I think that make you have core memories. Like when I'm 85 years old and like in my deathbed, you know, I'll be like, oh my God, that one 24-hour musical theater festival. Like I'm never gonna think of the moments I'm writing emails, or I'm not gonna think of the moments I'm writing music alone in my studio. I
Yeah.
don't moments that are shared with others where it's meaningful and it brings me joy and it's, you know, it has so much laughter and you create something. Trying to balance both.
Esin, you're making me emotional.
Oh my God, yeah, we had the best time as a student. It's Hogwarts. I don't know how many people know Harry Potter, but literally
feel the
the
same.
closest thing on earth to Hogwarts. What we do is
Agree.
magic wand, the conductor baton, and we wave it around and we make music. Come on.
Yes, I feel that. I fall in love with conducting. Hogwarts, absolutely. The music Hogwarts.
Yep.
Mm.
Oh, and then I have fun news to share with you. The reason I'm leaving
Please.
Berklee is I'm going on tour with Disney concerts. I will
Ooh.
conduct Coco. Have you guys seen Coco?
Of
I
course.
love
Oh my God, I
Coco.
cried every time I watch
Yes,
it.
that's the problem. So I will go on
That's a
to
problem.
conduct Coco with a 20-piece Mexican orchestra in a US tour, but I seriously don't know how I'm going to conduct without crying because I cannot watch the movie without sobbing. It's so beautiful. But yeah, so that's why I kind of have to leave Berklee because you can't do both at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, this tour. I apologize for the people who are watching and like listening, but I have to know when this tour is happening and which cities you're going to.
Sure. So the tour starts at the end of September. It starts in North Carolina. So it's just in the US, but it's all over the US. We start with East Coast. We do a little bit of the like mid states. We go to West Coast and then we come back to East Coast and finish, I think, somewhere around Orlando. But basically it's 2 months long. It's a bus tour. I think we hit like 45 shows or something over the course of 60 days. So it's quite packed.
Wow.
And they're still adding more. Yeah.
Will you be in Texas?
I will be in Texas.
Will you
Yeah,
be in-
I think I'm going to Austin or something. Houston, Austin, somewhere in Texas for sure.
I'm in Houston.
Really? Amazing.
Yeah.
Come
That's
see
my
the
hometown
show.
here. So I would love to come see. If you're in
Hopefully
Houston, I would
by
love
then I will perfect my conducting.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Wow.
We'll talk more. We'll talk.
Sounds good.
8
All right.
shows in 60 days.
Pretty much, yeah. And we also try to do some like school appearances, it sounds like. So I can't wait to inspire more kids.
Wow.
My charger
That's
has
fun.
arrived. I'll tell you
The
what,
charger has
Okay.
arrived.
the hero of the day. Wait, what do I do? Yes.
We need to have some sound effects here. What would you add?
Sorry, my-
Sorry, putting you on the spot. What would you add here as a sound effect?
What would
When
I add here as a sound effect?
Yes, when your chargers arrive.
My charge. Oh, it's like triumphant, like brass and strings, and it's crazy and major. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
Okay.
I
Well,
love it.
so great to know that we'll continue the call without me worrying about the computer dying. So that's really nice. Okay, what's your next
It's
question?
wonderful.
What is it like now, like when you zoom into that composer mode, like as a film composer? And I asked this because when I was at Berklee, it was the first time, I think it was first semester, I walked into a student-led workshop from the sound designing network, and they're doing workshop and showing live in the media center, showing how to create a sound effect for someone a broken arm.
Oh my God.
Arm just broke.
Okay.
How to make that sound effect? So you're not gonna break someone's arm to
To listen
that
and hear.
sound. I was curious, and then the president of the sound design network at the time, he brought in a big chunk of salary and record that crash and then show us how to manipulate that sound, and eventually it sound like a broken arm. And that for me was like, wow, into this film scoring world. And I thought about it, and then for me, I decided to choose music therapy because I compare looking at the screen and composing it versus I'm interacting with people and creating that music, accompany them in their emotion journey. I'm like, I feel I want to connect with people, but I see there's that connection. So I wonder, what is it like now for you?
That's a deep question. I mean, first of all, every collaboration is different because every time I work with another director or producer or like another team and they each have different needs. my creative process is pretty much relying on piano. That's my instrument. So it's very easy for me to come up with sketches on the piano and then orchestrate them. But like sometimes I wouldn't feel inspired by the piano, like based on what kind of a film I'm scoring. Like if it's emotional, I do great with piano. But if I'm doing like a horror related genre, then maybe piano is not the right sound. So then I would explore with the sounds that I have, which I have like terabytes of musical instruments. So I first, I guess, picked the right kind of sounds for the film, and then I tried to explore with them. And something I noticed is like if I were to just sit down to write a piece, that's really hard because I'm like, oh my God, like, do I want to write a love song? Do I want to write a hatred song? Do I want to write something about how passionate I feel today? Do I feel sad and I want to write a sad ballad? So like you have so many options. But when you're working in film and TV, both the film and the director's vision, they give you the limitations that you need to get going in the right direction. So I feel really inspired by those limitations. Like if my director knows what kind of a score that he would like to have, and he or she is like, oh my God, okay, I want this to be orchestral. I want this to be like dark and cinematic, with a little bit of vocals, like whatever detail that he or she gives me, it makes my job easier because then I have this vision and I'm like, okay, like I know what I'm gonna do, and I don't have to waste any time like exploring
Experiment.
different ideas and experimenting. Exactly. So in that regard, I find it to be a very easy job because I like there's no such a thing as writer's block because the film
Interesting.
or the TV series or the story there or the acting of those actors or animated characters, whatever it is, it gives you the necessary information that you need to get your brain working. So I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but like I've never had a writer's block, but I don't want to have it tomorrow just because I said this out loud. Like I'm
No, I
You
think
won't. You won't.
I get where you're coming from. The more specific they can be with you, then of
exactly, yeah.
course, yeah. I definitely get that. I had one. It's completely different, but we had one wedding where I was gonna perform, with my violin for a wedding, and the bride just goes, "Play anything." Yeah, you sure?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. Anything is good. I was like, that makes my job so difficult.
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh.
Bye.
Teşekkürler, thank you. I just got dessert delivered. I'm in Boston, but I have this super, super cute Turkish family that I love. And today is their dog's birthday. And it's turning 12, which is like huge with dog age.
Yeah,
So we're celebrating the
Older.
dog's birth, and they just delivered me some Turkish dessert.
Oh my God, sweet.
Which I've never had and will have someday.
We gotta have it today for sure. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Did I answer your question? I don't even remember what you asked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
I think so. That the question was about kind of like your process with working with the actual composition aspect of it and like what you go through. But it seems like for you, you really focus on getting all the information first,
Exactly.
and then
Before I start any film, we have a meeting called spotting session. It used to be in person, but with all the pandemic and everything, it kind of moved to Zoom, and it's really effective on Zoom. What we do is we watch the movie together, and then we decide what moments need music and what don't. Like something that is just important as the music you write is how you bring it in and how you bring it out. Because if it's too noticeable, it takes away from the story and it takes away from the audience's experience of getting lost in the movie. Like if you do something that is super, super on the nose and like super obvious, then they're suddenly like, okay, what's going on? But if you like sneak in the music, of course, it also depends on the kind of film. Like if you're working on an action film and something happens immediately, then yeah, of course, like you bring in the music immediately in a bombastic way and suddenly like there are explosions or chases or whatever. But if you're working on a more romantic drama like film where it's very intimate, then you don't want anything to come across as sudden. So like the more films you score and the more directors you work with, you kind of break the language of what they like and what they don't like. And then it keeps getting easier. So I don't know, I really enjoy it. I wouldn't want to do anything else.
I have a very like existential philosophical question. She's like, okay.
Right, do I need to get some ice cream?
No, it won't make you cry. So, so I'm just curious about, how do you feel, being a field composer, how do you feel that influences you as a person, specifically with your interactions with other people? Do you feel like it's really changed you? Like Esin, the film composer, is very different than Esin before she was the film composer, right? Do you feel like you're a very different person now? Does it affect your relationships? Does it affect how you interact with people? Do you have a different mindset?
I think this is the
that might take your time.
I think this is the deepest question I've ever received, and I think moving forward it's gonna affect me. But I never had the bandwidth to think about it, so it didn't affect me. But I think I'm very, what is that word? Like empathetic. So like I always pay attention to how people feel, and I never want to make anybody feel that they're like left behind or left outside. And I've been kind of that way ever since I was little. And the reasons why I wanted to get involved with this kind of a career, because all I do is try to relate to characters and try to tell their stories just in another way. But I don't think it made me a different person. Like sometimes I work with different directors and they're like very demanding. They're like, revision, change this, do that, do that. So it makes me become more patient. And then something that I like about film scoring is, like we read so many stories about these like huge actors or huge musicians having such a big ego, which then hurts them in their personal lives. But because I'm doing film scoring, and like what I try to do is basically serve the director. So it's almost like service industry. Like I have to make sure that the director is happy. So because I'm always in that mindset and I'm not like, oh, like I'm an artist, like I'm the best, like I don't think I ever get a chance to develop that kind of an ego, which I think is a good thing. Like I want to always come across as humble, because what we do is so subjective. There's no such a thing as, oh, like what I do is perfect for everyone. That's never gonna happen. It's not even gonna happen for Hans Zimmer. Like as great as he is, I'm sure there are also a lot of people who don't enjoy his music for whatever reason. So I think it's important to stay humble and remember that like you're not there to shine. You're there to support the story or somebody else's story. So like there would be times where I think I write the best thing I've ever written, and then the director would be like, what is this? Like change. This is awful. It doesn't help take the story to the next level. And I'm like, how can you say that? Like you can't do that. Like you need to be logical and you need to separate yourself from what you create and know that your music is not your representation on its own. Like you exist without what you create too, and you're important. And even if
not tying your value to that.
Exactly. Yeah. And of course, every artist suffers with that, and I do too.
Oh yeah.
If I submit, sorry, you go first.
I'm sorry.
You were saying something. I cut you off, so I wanted to hear you.
Oh no, I was just listening. I was saying not tying your value to that, and it was just making me think. You actually answered another question that I had about revisions in your field, and you made me really think. That's it. You don't have to say anything. Say such at all, but the it just made me think how that really relates to the mission that Xinyu has, like in China, where you have like tying your worth, music being something that's it's a part of us, but it's not our value. Right.
I think it's about like the work you do and how much like other people value it, right? Don't tie your own personal value to that kind of comments or judgments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do. Like every time I submit something, if I don't hear back from the director in 48 hours, I'm like, oh my God, what are they thinking? They must have hated it. They're probably looking for another composer. So, I mean, as much as I'm saying, oh, like, don't do it, don't connect it to your values, you're more than that. Like, every artist goes through it. But I think
it happened. Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say, I think it happens when we forget that we as like human beings, we're so multifaceted, and
yeah,
so we just get so caught up in like one aspect of ourselves. We have to remember that we're quite multifaceted, and we're infinitely so actually. We have to remember.
You talk about the film score you compose and to serve the purpose of purpose and the vision of the movie, the director. And do you still compose music that's like, oh, just for me, like what I feel, what I want to express, that's like me as an artist?
yes, but I have a problem saying no, which is a problem. And so because I say yes to more than I can do, I'm always like deadline, deadline, deadline. Let me get this done. Let me get that done.
I got that problem.
Exactly. So there's not really a lot of time for me to do stuff for my own.
Mm,
So what I try to do is like for example, I'm really passionate about children's music because I love animation. So I wanted to write music for children, but I know I would never do it just out of like, oh, like let me create an album for kids. Like I don't have time for that. So I wanted to
mm,
do that, but I had to turn it into a project. I wrote to
mm,
Istanbul Foundation for Culture and Arts, and I told them I want to do children's concerts for Istanbul Music Festival. Commission me, hire me, I'll do whatever you
mm.
so then I kind of turned my passion project into an actual job where they would pay me
Mm.
and I would, be actually checking a to-do list item from my to-do list. And that way I was able to kind of do what I wanted to do. But funny
With all the
thing,
support from
yeah,
the
like
source.
I wrote 45 or so minutes of music, and then I also arranged another 45 minutes of well-known Turkish children's songs and the well-known global children's songs. And I had like two beautiful concerts, and then I record and the job was done. That was the job, like to do something for the Istanbul Music Festival. And then I recorded the whole thing in an album so that I can release it. But that was my own responsibility to my own self. So I have never even
Mm.
opened those Pro Tools sessions because that doesn't have a deadline. So it's so sad. So
Wow.
what I'm trying to do is if I'm passionate about something, I do it, but I try to turn it into work because I know that otherwise I'll never get it done. Because
Mhm,
like I'm too passionate about it. I have so many ideas and there's no way to uh, do all of them. Uh,
mhm.
but I know how I work, and how I work is with deadlines and the adrenaline that comes from deadlines. So in order to get myself going and create, I try to make sure I create more deadlines that are coming from somebody else because my own deadlines to myself, I never meet them. And that's just the sad truth that I'm sure you can relate to.
Wow.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful because you are turning what you love, your passion, what you want to do to a job. How many people dream of that?
No,
Like,
but it's
do
not
what
about
I love.
dreaming. It's doing. Like as I told you, I love animation. I want to do animation. So because of that, I thought I should have a lot of material in my composer portfolio that are
Mm.
geared towards animation. So I reached out to the best animation school in United States, which is Ringling College of Art and Design, and I was like, "Hey, I want to score the movies of your students who are about to graduate, so the best students in the college or like the most educated ones." And then at first I did 4 of them for free, completely free, no source of payment, just like credit in the movie, that's it. And then the years after, because the upcoming students saw that, they wanted to hire me and pay me. So after those initial 4, I probably did like 15 more. So I kind of like invested in myself in the sense that this is the work I want to create. So I will find a way to turn this into work. And even though it started as like unpaid, fun passion project type of a thing, it did turn into work. And each year I at
Wow.
least get 2, 3 projects from that school where the students are like, please score my film. And the funny thing is, because it's not them who are paying, but their parents are helping them pay for the music, I can charge them. And sometimes 2 minutes of a student animated short can pay more than a 15-minute indie film that a 55-year-old producer does.
Wow.
You know, it's insane, but that's how it is.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
Find
Definitely,
ways to do your
I
dream
know.
thing.
Maybe you it sounds like you've mastered a way to turn your passion into action.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I mastered it. I'm just continuously doing it. So yeah.
Mhm.
But
That's-
everybody can do it, not just me.
Do you have any advice for anyone who would love to, you know, take whatever they're passionate about and really take action on that?
Yeah. First of all, I don't think anybody should wait for an opportunity to come to them. And I think they should be the ones who are like trying to open every door to make that happen. Because like how I started working for Disney is simply because before I graduated from Berklee, I was going to LA for like 10 days or a week. I don't even remember at this point. But before my trip, I went on LinkedIn and I found 50 Disney executives or 50 people who worked at Disney at some point in their lives. And I tried to meet with them so that I can get advice on how I can make that happen. And then at that time, oh, by the way, I didn't even have professional LinkedIn. I only had the student version, so I'm not able to message strangers. So I found people on LinkedIn. I stalked them on Facebook. I messaged them on Facebook. Out of those 50, only 2 wrote back to me. And they were so kind, like they offered to meet with me and they got me lunch. They showed me around in the studio.
Oh.
It was like a magical day, but it didn't lead to any jobs or anything. And then fast forward a year and a half later, I graduated, I moved to LA. I'm already there assisting composers, but I'm like doing very like low pay, like low scale jobs, nothing crazy. And then one day, one of those people that I initially reached out to saw my message on the day that he has to hire a music assistant on an emergency basis.
Ooh.
And then he writes to me and he's like, "Do you have any a cappella experience?" And I don't even remember the guy's name anymore. It's been a year and a half. I never looked him up again. I scroll up. He's one of the Disney executives. Oh my God. I Google him. He's like the vice president of legal affairs at Walt Disney Music Group. I'm like, oh my God. And then the next day, he got me a huge meeting. And then I got hired to become the music assistant of their new a cappella group that they were forming at the time, which is called Di Cappella.
Di Cappella, yes.
Exactly,
yes.
yeah. And then I worked with them.
Wow.
I still work with them. And through that, because it's all about networking in our business, everything is about knowing the right people. So thanks to the first step that I've made, I got to work on so many other Disney things. And the conducting tour that I will go to, it is also thanks to my initial stupid Facebook message. So if you want to do something, you just gotta find a way to do it. That's all I'm saying. And another thing, I think people should always try to go for jobs that they think they don't qualify for, jobs that they are perfectly in alignment with what they think they're at, and then jobs that are like way below their like expertise level. Because what happens is sometimes you apply to things that you are perfect for and you don't end up even hearing back. But then you would get the things that you think are way out of your league. Like the whole Berklee assistant chair job. What was I thinking? I just graduated, I mean, now 6, but at the time that I was applying, I was only an alumni for 4 years. And I didn't actually think they would hire me. That doesn't
But you
make
did
sense.
anyway.
But I applied and it ended up happening. So all I'm saying is, I think if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. You need to really put yourself forward and just go for it. Yeah, like there are times where you have to fake it till you make it. It is so true.
So true.
Something that people were telling us at Berklee, and I was like, what do they even mean? But like how the entire industry works. You gotta fake it till you make it, and you need to come across as confident and as if you know what you're doing. And we do know what we're doing, and we have good things as a result of doing it for years. But
Yes.
a lot
The
of things you
intense
learn on the
training.
job. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest advice. Like, believe in yourself and try to fight for things that you really want to see in your life, and also be patient. Like, none of this happened in one day.
Yeah,
I
it's not.
so much
If that
struggle.
happens, everything will just like crash into each other. So we
Yeah,
need the
it's
time
a
to plan it
compilation.
out.
Yeah. And also help people. Like, I swear, I don't know if I call it freelance gods or karma or like whatever it is up there, out there. It helps. Like, anytime I do a job that is not necessarily something that other people would want, like either because you have to work 4 a.m. to 1 p.m., or either because it doesn't pay much, or because it's such a low profile project that nobody will ever see. Like, every time I did one of those things, like months later or days later or years later, it came back to me in a way that it's so, so, so rewarding. That like,
Oh,
when you help people, I swear it's like a Disney princess thing. Like it comes back to you. I don't know how to describe, but I fully believe in it, and it's been serving me well.
uh-huh. Do you like deep inside you feel like you are one of the Disney princess living in the real world?
I want to, yeah. That's all I want.
They don't have a Turkish Disney princess yet, do they?
I know.
Not yet.
Not
I
yet.
hope I will.
She will be based on you. She'll also be a pianist.
I would die. I would instantly die.
Oh
I'm
my
all
god.
for it. Yeah, I hope they do it.
I'll just start putting it out there. I'll tell artists, I was like, imagine, just imagine, put it on your Instagram, whatever. This is a Disney princess named Esin who plays piano.
If that happens, I don't know. I like, they would have to put me in a mental hospital of some sort. I can handle it. If it happens, if there are any Disney executives listening, please do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Right. It's just do it. Wow. And you talk about fake it until make it. I think there's also a lot of different kind of interpretation about it. Is it because sometimes people try it as like, oh, just pretend to be someone else, but it doesn't work. I feel there's so much nuance. For me, and related to what you just shared, is like actually deep inside, we believe it will happen. That kind of deep inside. So we, even though right now it's not there yet, but we so strongly believe it's right in the future. It's waiting for me. Like that kind of feeling inside of us. Is that what you mean when you said fake it until make it?
When
That
I
you
say
have that
fake it
sense of
till you
feeling.
make it, I don't mean it as a personality thing. Like, sometimes you might get an opportunity that is a dream for you, but you don't necessarily think you're qualified for.
Mm-hmm.
But you shouldn't reject it because you feel like you're not confident enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should go for it because you probably have the strength in you to do it. It's just that because you've never done something at that scale, it scares you, and things get weird when you have fear. Like, fear ruins things. So instead of having fear, like, embrace whatever that thing is and believe in yourself that you can actually handle it. Because like, no one became an overnight success. Like, I'm sure
Yeah.
John Williams, when he got his first big film, he was probably super scared. Just in this last semester, we had an incredible guest, Ellen Silvestri. He's the composer who did Forrest Gump, all the Back to the Future movies, some stuff for Marvel. Like, he's insanely talented, and I think he's over 70, 75 years. I don't know what exact age he has. But he was saying, like, every gig I get, like every project I get, I feel like this is the one that they're going to find out that I don't know what I'm doing. And that's exactly how I feel. Like, I do it and I survive in every project, but every time I get it and I'm at the beginning stages of it, I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't deserve this. How am I gonna do this? Like, do I even qualify? Will I even do a good enough job? I think it's good to have those feelings because those feelings make you want to be your best. So it's so humbling to know that even him, after all those films, after all those awards, after all that experience, even him, like, he still goes through that and he still tears up talking about it. And I'm like, this is so beautiful. Like, oh my goodness. So I think, yeah, we should always have like a little bit of doubt for ourselves, so that we want to make sure we put our best foot forward. But at the same time, if you want something so bad, you have the power in you to do it, because you're going to move mountains to do it. So it's also good to have the courage.
Mm-hmm. When we have fear, it also means we are stepping to something potentially gonna make us grow.
Of course, yeah.
We're expanding and it's unknown. That's why we feel fear. Like, oh, I've never done this. This
Into
is
the unknown.
larger than I thought. So what did you say?
I sang Into the Unknown from Frozen.
The second one.
No.
Which
Yes.
I personally enjoyed the music more in the second one. But that's
They're both so good. I don't know.
I love, oh my god, it's just too good, especially the Lost in the Woods. It's so campy that I just
So pretty. Also, oh my god, the new songs in the live action Little Mermaid, it's so good too.
Don't tell me anything. I haven't seen it
I'm not gonna
yet.
say anything. It's so good. Everybody go see it. I went last night. I saw it last night. And I'm still recovering. It was so beautiful.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if you have any, lingering advice, for anyone who, anyone who would like to, most of the people who are watching, some might be musicians, but a lot of them might not be. They don't actively practice an instrument. So do you have any advice for someone who's thinking about starting an instrument, thinking about making music a big part of their life, in any capacity?
I guess I would say don't think, just do. If you know you like music, like you need to get in there. You need to get dirty. Like if you want to get a violin and sound terrible for 3 months, but then eventually make good sound, go for it. Because the best way to do it is to experience it. So any kind of passion you have, I think it needs to be explored. And I don't know how things are in Asia, but like in Turkey, there's this terrible college system where all high school students, when the high school ends, they take the same exam, and then
same.
they get like a mark, and based on that mark, grade, whatever you call it, then they apply for college. But they don't apply for what they're passionate about. They apply for whatever their grade can get them into, and that's something I'm really opposed to, because again, as I said in the beginning, like for any kind of success in any kind of field, you need to really, really give your all. And if I went to law school, I would tell you, like, I would be the worst lawyer. If I went to engineering school, they would expel me from the school because I have no interest. Like, I wouldn't even be able to stay awake in those courses. But, in order to shine and do good and be better than your peers, or even have that energy to pull all-nighters and do more research and do more projects, you need to be passionate about it. So I think if you have found your passion, you should blindly go for it. Or if you haven't found it yet, you should try so many different things until you figure out what speaks to your soul. Because, we're here to enjoy life. Like, of course, work and earning money is a part of it, but I've done projects in January that I still haven't been paid for, and it's fine because I enjoyed working on it, and I know eventually I will get that money, so I don't care. But you need to love, love, love what you're doing, because no matter what job you do, like you spend the majority of your day doing it, and for your life to feel meaningful, you really need to have a deeper connection with what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I'm this 85-year-old woman trying to give advice for no reason.
Western.
I mean, you offer a really unique perspective, so it's really nice. It's really nice to get that. So I think that marks, that's we're a little bit over the hour mark. So
perfect timing, I think.
Yeah, perfect timing.
Yes.
Yay.
So thank you so much for coming. Now we're gonna open up the Q&A for our live audience, but for our audience who are listening, make sure until we meet you next time,
play more music.
Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, play more music.感谢你的收听，我们下一期不见不散。